Hey guys, we are here at the Public Works Department and you are going to give us some very valuable information. This is Bill Hilyer, if you are not aware, Director of Public Works, and you're going to tell us how to spot a water leak, right?
Going to try to. One of the updates, we've updated our website, and one of the things that we've added is a bot when you get on our website that kind of asks, how can I help you? So one of the biggest questions we've had is, how do I know if I have a water leak?
Yeah. And I told you my mom had called me this morning saying, I think I have a water leak.
So
let's tell them how to fix it.
It's one of the biggest questions. So what we've added, we just added a checklist, a water leak checklist to our website. If you go to the water department under the city of Calera, we've added a checklist there. And what it's got on there, it has a lot of information of some tips and tricks of spotting whether you have a water leak or not, and whether it's on the city side or whether it's actually on the customer side.
Right.
So we have two different style meters in the system. This is the old style meter. These are our brand new meters that we're installing now. The old style meter the leak indicator is in the middle. So if you have nothing running in your house, nobody's in the house, nobody's using water, and that middle dial is moving, you have a water leak somewhere.
Okay.
The new style meter is a little bit more intuitive. It will actually have a water droplet symbol there, and it will give you how much water is coming through it. Whether it's 2 gallons a minute, 5 gallons a minute, 20 gallons a minute, but it will give you an indication that, hey, I've got a leak in my house.
Okay.
So now on the new style meters, this is what we are actually notified if the meter says it has a leak, if it doesn't rest for 3 hours in a 24-hour period. So it sends us a notification, says, hey, we think this meter has a water leak.
Yeah.
So we'll actually go out to the home and we'll isolate the leak between us and the customer. Once we've verified that it is a leak on the customer side, we hang a blue door tag that is kind of just a heads up, hey, we think you have a leak.
Okay.
And some of the things we look at, this is an actual customer that we have paid a visit to that said, we think you have a water leak. And if you'll notice, from 12 a.m. to 11 p.m., the water usage is consistent. Around 20 gallons. That's around 20 gallons. Never stopped.
Okay.
So it's running about 20 gallons an hour. You can look here at 2 o'clock in the morning, 21, 3 o'clock. So most people aren't up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So that's a good indication to us that there is a leak on the customer side.
Okay.
The key thing to remember is that if you have the blue tag, we've already been there and we have isolated the leak from the city. The leak is from the meter towards the customer.
Okay.
So the customer has a leak on their side somewhere. It could be in their line to their house. It could be inside the house somewhere, but there is water usage going on. And there again, once you get to that point, the checklist, we have some kind of tips and tricks to look at if it's
what to do.
That's right.
Okay.
If it's a valve on a toilet that's leaking by, things like that. Some tips and tricks that you can kind of look at and see that. And always they can call us if they have questions.
Show us again exactly where we need to go on the website.
Okay.
So we're in the water department.
You're in the water
right?
department. It's down here, water leak checklist. You
Okay.
click on that, and it's going to pull up this document here, and it's got several pages in it. It goes through it, kind of tips and tricks on the leaks. It explains the water meters. It also explains this is a meter out at the road, and it explains where the customer ends and where the city begins.
Okay.
So it kind of gives an explanation of how our system is set up.
This is very helpful because I would say probably the majority of homeowners are you're just not aware. It's not something that happens frequently. It's not something you have to deal with frequently. So I think this is so helpful to know.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. I was just looking at it this morning. We have somewhere around the neighborhood, we have about 400 work orders that we go on in a month in the water department alone. So what we're trying to do, and some of it is new services, changing services. A lot of it is customers think they have a leak and they don't know where to go. And we're always here to help. But at the same time, we are limited on resources.
Yeah, just working smarter, right?
We're trying to work smarter and trying to give more tools for the customer to be able to, be able to fix it themselves and be able to know where to go. So,
absolutely.
So that's hopefully this will provide some insight of. I know I don't know how many door tags we've hung over the last few months, but I hope it provides some insight of why you're getting that.
Yeah.
It's not us. the meter itself is saying, I think you've got to leak because it's using water nonstop.
You're just helping them out by alerting them to the problem.
Yeah,
right?
and the hope is if we can catch it. I mean, I had a customer probably 2 weeks ago that called. We hung a door tag, and he got home. He'd been gone for the weekend. He got home that Monday, and we'd already been out that morning. And what had happened is he'd left his garden hose on all weekend. So that Saturday, I think around 500 gallons went through his meter. Sunday was around 550.
Yeah.
You know, and we could tell him exactly, yep, this is what happened. This is how much you used. You know, this is probably how it's going to affect you. Whereas, you know, instead of waiting to the next billing cycle and getting a high bill,
bombarded.
That's
by it,
right. That's right. You kind of gives the customer a little bit of heads up.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this information. So if you need to check out this, need more information at all, make sure you go to the city website, look into the water department and the water leak checklist, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Now, the last thing I want to cover is back on the utility side is natural gas.
Oh, yes.
Everybody knows energy has been up over, you know, we have seen an increase in energy prices. And what we're seeing, we belong to a co-op that buys natural gas. Natural gas is a commodity, but we belong to a co-op that helps us buy gas in advance to try to keep our prices down. We pass those savings straight on to our residents. So what they're telling us right now, if depending on how November and December goes, if it's fairly mild, you'll see, you know, around an increase of a typical usage of around $20 a month.
Okay.
Now, if this weekend's going to be cold, if it stays abnormally cold through November and December, as we get into January, we could see some significantly higher rates on our natural gas.
So if we are gas customers, we definitely need to be prepared and aware.
That's exactly right. You know, as we go through November, December, we start having, you know, consistent nights at or below freezing, highs in the days in the 40s and things like that. We stay like that for a good portion of the next 2 months.
Yeah.
As you get into January, you may want to, you know, check your comfort level on your thermostat if you have gas heat, and just kind of make some smart consumer decisions on what's comfortable versus cost. So.
I know it's a tough time right now.
It is very tough.
All around, right? But this is
around.
another area that we do need to be aware of. Okay. You feel like that's it? I think we covered a lot.
I hope so.
All right, Bill, I really appreciate the info. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.